So when I say the word iOS, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Some people would say, well, that's the Apple system. That's the Apple software system. And others would say, like, what? Is this like some kind of acronym for something? Like, I don't understand this. But the first answer was actually the correct answer. And then it's the Apple operating system. And it has been always getting, it's always getting improved. Every year they're coming out with a big update. And this fall, they're coming out with a really big update with iOS 18. And actually, the beta is now available to apply for, which I'm probably going to be applying for after I'm done recording this video. So watch for a video review on that here, probably in like a week or so. But I want to share my screen with you guys real quick because this is everything that's going to be coming on the iOS update, iOS 18. And now there's a lot that we could go over. And honestly, like if you guys would like a part 2 of this, let me know in the comments below. But for now, we're just going to focus on the RCS messaging support, the biggest ever photos update, the locked and hidden apps update, and the home screen customization. Now, you're probably thinking in your mind, like, yeah, I want to know what's with this RCS update. So, this time last year, probably about this time last year, Apple released a statement stating that they've seen all the requests. I don't know if those watching, if you haven't heard, like this time last year, there was a lot of petitions. There was a lot of people just asking their local governments, whether it be here in the United States or the UK or in other parts of the world, where they were wanting them to kind of force Apple to, be more user friendly or like more phone friendly towards Android phones, because the iMessage system that they've been using for the past so many years, we all know, is kind of made people frustrated. I actually heard a story. Well, I've heard some stories of where a guy or a girl would ask the opposite gender, for a phone number. If they saw them, they thought they were attractive, they knew they were single, and then they asked them for the phone number, and they gladly gave it to them. And then when that person went to go and text that person that they got the phone number of, their message would either come up green because they texted the person with an iPhone, or vice versa. And because of that, whoever had the iPhone would just shut the other person down because they thought, oh, well, I'm too good for this because I have an iPhone and you have an Android phone, and that's just not okay with me. Like, I got to make sure I date someone with an iPhone. And I actually had a discussion about this with a few content creator friends of mine, including like Viper, the man about tech, Roberto Blake, Trent's Tech, and so many others. And we had this like long discussion one morning via, Twitter X Spaces, and we were talking about this, and we were all shocked with like the opinions that people have about this. But so with all this going on, Apple released a statement about this time last year stating that with their next big update, that they were going to have a better RCS system, that they were going to finally start joining the RCS system to help, their phones and their systems to be more phone friendly to other phones outside of the iOS system, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Basically meaning that, hey, we saw all the requests and all the people getting upset, so we're going to make this more user friendly for people from who have like who have Android phones or Windows phones, whatever kind of phones. We're going to make this more acceptable for them and help them to be more inclusive into our system. Now, there's been a hot debate, as I said, about this whole thing. Some people are like, well, if they want iOS, they want the iOS texting system, then go get an iPhone. Well, some people just don't really like iPhones, and that's fine. Like, I have to throw this out there really quickly. There's nothing wrong with Android. If you are an Android user, that's awesome. Keep using your Android. Keep doing you. But so with this RCS messaging support, this is a really big step for Apple because, as I mentioned, they've been using that iMessage system for so long, and there have been times, even in my own personal life, where like if I would text someone and it comes up as a green message, I'm like, oh, well, I don't know when this person's gonna get my text. If it was someone that I was working with or someone that I was associating with, whether it be through church congregation or like a young single adult congregation, whatever the case may be. I didn't know how long it was going to be until that person responded, because I was texting them from my iPhone and they had an Android phone. Now, again, I do have an iPhone. This is a 13 Pro Max. I'm probably going to be updating it here soon, but that's besides the point. But this is a really big step for Apple, and this was one of the main things that I was looking forward to. When they didn't really come out and say RCS like when they first did the presentation, but as you guys saw from this photo, it says right here, RCS messaging support, which Apple is doing an awesome job with that. I'm glad they're finally joining the RCS messaging support system. This is going to make things a lot easier when it comes to communication. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, one of the other things I wanted to talk about was the biggest Photos update ever. The biggest ever Photos update is what I meant to say. So if you're like me, you probably have a lot of photos on this guy, on your phone. And this is a big update. They're going to be able to help you. You're going to be able to organize your photos better. You're going to be able to, tag people who that are, like, let's say, like if you have photos like with your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister, maybe your dog. You're going to be able to organize these photos that much more. And there's so much that I could talk about with the Photos app. Since I'm a photographer, every time when I upload my photos from my DSLR to my computer, everything goes onto this, and so I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of photos. But this is like one of the, as they said right here, it's the biggest ever Photos update. Now, does that mean that it's going to be more user friendly? You better believe it. Like, I am so excited for that. I like the fact that, like I said in my last video, you'll be able to just type in with the Apple Intelligence, you'll be able to type in on your phone saying, find, a photo of my daughter on her skateboard, or find a photo of my son on his dirt bike, and it will pull up the photos. And that to me is so cool. Like, because there have been times when I've looked for photos of family, whether it be pets or just individuals, and I had to sit there and scroll on my phone like, hang on, I'm looking. And I'm just so excited about that because they're trying to make it more user-friendly. Now, is it going to have some bugs? Yes, it will have some bugs. As I mentioned before, when this first comes out, there's going to be patches. Patches, the iOS 18.1 patch will more than likely come out within a week after the iOS 18 update comes out. So, because there's always some glitches, there's always things like that. That's just how tech is. But the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the fact that they have this new feature called locked and hidden apps. Now, some people are like, well, why do you want to talk about that? Maybe you're part of a family that, let's say you're one of the only single people in your family, and everyone, and you give like maybe your brother or your sister or one of your parents access to your phone. You can now hide apps. Like maybe maybe you're ashamed about using the dating apps, and maybe you want to hide those so that they can't see them. And this is going to give you that capability to be able to hide these apps from them and be able to basically only give you access to these apps. And I love this a lot. Now I can go into further detail about this as well in another video. So make sure you tell me in the comments. But when Apple announced this, I thought that's actually pretty cool. Like, I'm not going to lie, that's pretty cool that they're, and if you're part of the millennial generation like me, or maybe you're part of the Gen Z, whatever generation you're part of, let's say you're ashamed about using TikTok, or you're ashamed about using Snapchat, you can hide that with this update, which I'm so excited for, because let's face facts here, like, we've all given our phones to family members, and they're like, oh, what's your passcode? So you tell them your passcode, and they're like, oh, what are you doing with this app? Like, why do you have this dating app on your phone? Like, oh, why do you have TikTok on your phone? Like, that's such a bad app. Or why are you still on social media? Like, why are you still using Facebook? Like, it's just so overrated now. With this iOS 18 update, you'll be able to hide these apps that you don't want people to know you're using. And I think that's such a cool feature to have. Now, Is that a lot of information to take in? Yeah, there's going to be a lot to take in. This is not going to be like something you're going to be able to go through on the first day of iOS 18 and be able to figure out everything in one day. This is not possible, because to this day, I kid you not, with iOS 17.5 that I'm using right now, I'm still finding new features, which I think is amazing. I love the fact that every day I'm learning something new about my iPhone. Now, the next one I really want to talk about, and this is one that I was really excited about, and it was the customization. Excuse me, I had a air bubble there. The home screen customization. Now you're probably thinking in your mind, Tony, why are you talking about this? Because us iPhone users, we've never had this capability. We've never had this opportunity to customize our iPhones, to change the color of our home screens. I'll tell you right now, being able to change. So for example, if I was being able to change these colors right here, it makes me so excited, because as much as I like the white, the fact that I can change it to a different color makes me that much more excited. The fact that you can customize your home screen to fit your personality that much better, to make it feel like you're not just like every other iPhone user, makes me that much more excited. Now, will it have its limitations? Of course. That's just kind of how it is. If you want to have an iPhone but you want to use an Android, well, maybe get a phone for each. If you want an Android, if you have an Android but you really want an iPhone, and trust me, I've tried this before, maybe you should just go trade in your phone and pay on an iPhone monthly. Because I can tell you right now, when I had my Android, I was downloading stuff to make my menu look like an iPhone menu. I was downloading the iPhone ringtones because I just missed my iPhone. But all that being said, the last thing I want to talk to you guys about is something that I'm actually also very excited about, and this comes from the same photo, and it is the control center customization. Let me bring this back full circle with you guys. With the control center, this has been the control center on everyone's iPhone for the past who knows how many years. But with this new update, you can change your control center around. You can add things, you can remove things, you can again change the color, which is nice, but you can make this more your own. And honestly, that makes me excited, because I can tell you right now, there's some of these apps that I wouldn't use. On rare occasions, I'll use the flashlight. On rare occasions, I will use airplane mode. These are things that I look forward to being able to change. Now, does that mean that I'm just going to go through and change everything on my control center? That's a possibility. That's a definite possibility. But honestly, I can think of a few things right now that I would get rid of. I'd get rid of the screen mirroring. I don't use the screen mirroring. I don't use the calculator that much. And if I do use the calculator, I just search for it on my phone because I know where it is exactly. But honestly, guys, if things don't fall off, there's so much about this. There's the texting, there's the text effects, there's the state of mind in journal, messaging via satellite, which is very cool. There's larger icons for the home screen. You will be able to make this guy your own phone without, using someone else's phone and saying oh, your phone menu looks just like mine. And that's what I'm most excited for, is the fact that iOS 18 is now making it possible for you to be able to customize your stuff that much more with Apple Intelligence and with all these different various changes. And if you're a gamer, there's going to be a better game mobile, a better game mode, as I should say. And honestly, I can't wait to use this. I'm going to be applying for the beta right after I'm done recording this video. And on that note, guys, let me know what you think about this. If you're excited about it, make sure you tell me or if you're just I could do without it. But make sure you tell me your feelings on this in the comments below, because I want your feedback. Let's discuss this in the comments. I'm really excited about this. And on that note, I will see you in the next video.